digital marketing, whether it's Facebook ads or YouTube ads or Google ads, you can measure very predictably, this is how much I spent and this is where that customer came from. One huge advantage that SEO has over all of those other forms, those forms you stop paying, you stop getting. SEO, work that you did last year, you get this year and you're going to get next year. It just compounds and gets bigger and bigger. And it's a bit like a freight train. It takes a lot of energy to get started. But man, once it starts, it goes gangbusters.
You're listening to Ecomonics, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Kris Reid, it is good to have you here on Ecomonics. How are you doing today? How are you feeling? Good morning to you.
Oh man, what an awesome time to be alive and working on the internet, With COVID rampaging around the world, it's never been a better time to have an online business.
I think at this point, it's pretty much the only thing to do. That, or I guess, I don't know, working at a grocery store or something like that. God bless the frontline workers, wherever they may be.
Yeah. But I mean, it's certainly propelled more and more businesses to be online and just shown how powerful it is to have an internet business. And, the internet's just growing faster and faster as, bricks and mortar struggle. What's the internet going to be like in 10 years time? The best time to invest in an internet business was 10 years ago, and second best time is right now.
And I think it also goes to show too the forward thinking nature of people who got into it prior to. I myself, I've been working remote. I've been social distancing, I think, my whole life. So for a lot of people, they look forward to going back to being able to go out. I look forward to getting back to making excuses not to.
Indeed.
COVID's riding cover for me for the last year and a half, and the clock is ticking on that. Well, time to let's open it. Let's open this up for our audience. Get everybody warmed up. Kris, tell us, what do you do and what are you up to these days?
Sure. So I'm sitting here in sunny Saigon, Vietnam, where it's always hot and sweaty. If you like to sweat, this is the place to be. But I'm not originally from Vietnam. I'm originally from Brisbane, Australia. You might be able to tell from my funny accent. And I studied software engineering at university. And there's really two ways to make money as a software engineer. You go to Silicon Valley and you work for a tech startup, or you work in finance. I took the finance route. I moved to London, worked for a bunch of big banks, making billionaires more money, which is, kind of soul-destroying work, but they pay you enough money that you learn to forget about it. And, life was great. I was getting paid lots of money, had Europe as my playground. I'd go to Paris or Berlin or Amsterdam on the weekend. It was just amazing. My ego was as big as the sun. I was untouchable until the 2008 global financial crisis came around. And man, it took the banking world by storm. I got my ass kicked. I lost my job. So did everyone I knew. There was no jobs to be had. I went back to Australia with my tail between my legs going, awesome, I'm in my mid-20s and my career is over. Life sucks. I really didn't know what to do. Being a computer geek, I locked myself in a dark room and I built an online game. Not particularly because I knew anything about business. I didn't, albeit wanted to be a businessman. I was just building a game to learn some new type of technology. And then I was like, well, how the heck do you get people to this website to play the damn thing? And so that's when I started learning about SEO. I discovered the secret of Google, backlinks, built a bunch of backlinks to my website. And I went, wow, that's awesome. It shot up in the rankings, got a heap of traffic. I went, this is loads of fun, because you can instantly see returns. I wasn't so much interested in the money side of it. I didn't relate that yet. I went, wow, you can make traffic go to a website. That's cool. So I quickly ditched the game and I built an online service to get backlinks for businesses. And, that led my way into the SEO world and been doing it ever since.
I'm a huge nerd, so I'm a huge gamer. Gaming is one of my major passions. Anything that starts with Z and ends in Elda, I'm all about that. And so I just got to wonder, what was the game you were making?
Yeah. So, I mean, working in finance, you generally do desktop applications because if you don't have your systems connected to the outside world, it's really hard to hack them. And so I really just wanted to learn some internet programming. And so I was learning some new stuff. It was a game based around, what the heck was it called? Pimp Wars, this turn-based, very simple strategy game from many years ago. And I had a mob theme of it. But man, I didn't even end up finishing the game. I got into SEO and went, that's way more fun to program that.
I might have actually played this game, to be honest with you. It actually did ring a bell. Now I can't substantiate it, but that rang a bell for me. Or maybe I just hear that term a lot.
The site got a lot of traffic. I lost so much interest in it. I forgot to even renew the domain name, and I lost it. I checked it out a little while ago and went, someone's selling the damn domain name now.
Well, with a name like Pimp Wars.
I was on my to-do list to finish it for many years, but there's always more business stuff that comes up.
Yeah, I do briefly have this image in my mind where you have one group, they're playing the game on the front end, they're having a fun, but then on the back end, you're not only working on it, but you're learning all the SEO, and you're having like an equal amount of fun. And it's not the first time that we've seen stories where people were like, they'll play games and then they realize, man, I should really take this competitive energy and go put it something far more productive. One of the very, very first guests we had was the Steve Tan of the Super Tan brothers, and like they took their competitive mindset. Now look at them; they're basically running a whole industry at this point. So good for them, but they're not here today. So I just there was the image in my head that I wanted to express. And also, so you said the 2008 financial crisis, and was that also what they would relate to at that time, which was the recession? Were they hand in hand, or was the basically like
the
one caused the other?
The Great Recession and the global financial crisis are the same thing, really. Then one triggered the next,
Yeah. See, I was getting into podcasting at that time, and I had like no money because I was in college, and so there was like a free podcast hosting service. And I remember they had to post up something and say, "Listen, due to the financial recession, we actually can't afford to run the service anymore." So my first podcast got axed. It's not exactly like a one-to-one parallel with what you went through, but that recession hit everybody, even us college podcasters.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good eye-opener too of that you got to be prepared that the world can change dramatically very fast.
Yep.
I thought my job was super secure. I was getting paid lots of money, and why would that ever stop? I was in my mid-20s, and every 6 months I was getting big pay rises. I was like, this is awesome. I'm a superstar. I was getting more money than, I was pretty new out of university, only a couple of years. And I'd gone from making, the same money that you make at McDonald's to, 6-figure salaries. And it's like, this is wicked. I ended up saving a bunch of money just because I made more than I could spend. It's like, and I'd go on to Paris on the weekend. Like, that is a hell of a life. And then that can all change in a heartbeat. You need to be prepared for that. You don't control the outside world. And so it was a good lesson to have earlier in life, and it's kind of made me a little bit more stoic of, appreciate what you have and realize it can all go away very, very fast.
It is possible that no matter how much a person makes, they can always outspend how much they make. There's no shortage of celebrities that I can think off the top of my head who can attest to that. And it does lead into like one of the talking points that we can touch on, and I want to get to it, but I don't want to get to it first. It's just about generating predictable revenue, and that I think a lot of your prior experience has influenced you to make that a big priority, not only what you do, but also what other people do. But one of the main things we want to talk about today is SEO. And occasionally we bring on SEO experts onto the program. And full disclosure to you, full disclosure to my audience, SEO is really a weak point for me. Like for instance, when somebody it was Paul Motley, he first introduced affiliate marketing to me, that clicked right away because I had more of like a natural affinity for it. I guess like in my perspective, I see affiliate marketing as something like it's a promoter's game. It really comes down to the cadence of a person's writing to a large degree. SEO to me comes across as like a form of programming, but not like coding, for instance. It's a matter of like information, applying it in the right spot to get the right results. So for a moron such as myself, what frame of mind would be a healthy way to envision SEO so that I can go back and listen to my SEO focused episodes and have an easier time of getting it? Because again, full disclosure, it is a really hard thing for me to understand.
Straight away, it's the best form of marketing on the planet. You should be doing it. Okay. If you think about every other form of marketing, it picks a pants out of it. Like traditional marketing, all of it sucks. TV, radio. I don't know why people are building, Super Bowl ads. Oatly did it because they're going IPO. They just want that exposure. They can't measure the however many millions of dollars it costs to have a Super Bowl ad to selling their oat milk. It's just so hard to measure. Digital marketing, whether it's Facebook ads or YouTube ads or Google ads, you can measure very predictably, this is how much I spent and this is where that customer came from. And so that kicks the crap out of that. One huge advantage that SEO has over all of those other forms, those forms you stop paying, you stop getting. SEO, work that you did last year, you get this year and you're going to get next year. It just compounds and gets bigger and bigger. And it's a bit like a freight train. It takes a lot of energy to get started. But man, once it starts, it goes gangbusters. So just recently, I was on Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast with John Lee Dumas. And we've worked with John Lee Dumas, which was pretty cool too. And man, it sent a ridiculous amount of leads to our website, which was cool. And I spoke. So we normally focus on real estate. Most of our clients are in real estate, and it's.
I do have some real estate questions, but we'll get to those.
We the more we have clients that are the exact same, the easier it is for us. If we have a luxury realtor in Naples or a luxury realtor in Toronto, it's the same thing. You change the name and boom, you're done. And so just recently, I've had this influx of all of these different entrepreneurs. And one thing that's in common is that they don't know how to get clients. One woman I spoke to last night, her business is doing $4 or $5 million, but it's all through referrals. And she's like, I don't know how to scale. I don't know. What if the referrals stop? There's no predictability. We get a bunch of referrals, then we don't get any. And that's the truth of why most businesses fail, is that they can't get customers. And if you've solved that problem, man, it makes business so much easier. I'm not the greatest businessman in the world. I screw up plenty of times. Had a HR steal $30,000 one time. You name a mistake, I've been there, I've done that. But we have predictable revenue, and then you live to fight another day, and it takes the stress out. If you don't have financial stress with work, everything else is just fun. It doesn't really matter what happens. So that's what any form of digital marketing can get you, but SEO is just by far the best return on that. It's that compounding effect that just beats the pants off anything. So that's SEO in a nutshell.
Well, I mean, you're promoting it. You're promoting the hell out of it. That's for sure. And it's a helpful means to answer the question. Like there's still a lot of granularity and still a lot that I really definitely want to go through, but to hear that level of enthusiasm, I think shows your potential as a marketer, but also just how important it is for our audience to understand that this is a key element. You do need this for your business. So, I guess one thing, because we established your backstory, one thing I would like to hear about, because I do tend to ask about, I guess, SEO's history and its evolution. So, when you were working on using SEO to boost your game's awareness, how were you doing it exactly? And if possible, were those techniques coming with you?
I could go back then and slap my younger self and go, dude, read some business books. I would have taken over the world. If I had my knowledge now back then, it's like, it was so easy. I succeeded because it was so easy. You didn't even have to try. Like now it's much harder. Google, well, it's been working. They have an army of software engineers, 180,000 or something last time I read it. I read How Google Works by Eric Schmidt. And back then they had 180,000 people, and that was 6 years ago or something. So however many they got now, and they're constantly working on their algorithms to get it better and better. And what they're trying to do is filter out the crap and get better and better search results. And the internet economy is just growing at a crazy amount, and it's fewer and fewer websites that are getting that money. So it's more and more valuable to have a website. 10 years ago, the internet economy was tiny compared to what it is today. And Google was nowhere near as clever as it is today. So it was easier, but it wasn't as valuable. Now it's harder, but it's way more valuable. And it's only going to get more complex and more valuable. So it has changed a lot. But one of the main premises that I would go back and tell my younger self is read some freaking business books, dude. And two books that dramatically changed my business are both by the same author, Mike Michalowicz, who I've also done some work with and was also on his podcast. He, if he still has one, I don't know. He's still a fabulous author. And those two books are Profit First, How to Always Have a Profitable Business, which might sound easy, but it's not. And it's one thing that people can forget about. Profit doesn't exist until you take it out of the business. You need to take that money. What are you working for? You need that your money to see what happens if the internet goes away. And his other book called Clockwork, which is about how to build a business that doesn't revolve around you. And I'm not perfect about it. Like the business, I still make a lot of the growth of the business. But, I just took my family away for a holiday for 2 weeks, came back and my inbox was not on fire. There was no problems. It was just humming along. And, I'm working really hard. I got a new baby on the way. And,
amazing.
I want to be able to take time off and, spend time with my baby and have the business just run without me, not having a job. Most entrepreneurs build themselves a job. I certainly did. When I first got into business, I went from working in finance, getting paid lots of money, getting to go to Paris on the weekend, to having an army of employees that depended on me to give them, get their paychecks. And at times, I wasn't taking a paycheck. I'm going, great, I getting paid nothing. I'm working my ass off. I can't take a holiday. I can't get out because it's like you've taken this person's money, so you owe them that work. But it's like now there's not enough money to get that work done, and so you need to go and sell more work to get more money. And then there's no money for that, and there's no way to get out because you owe that guy work. And it's this terrible little trap that many entrepreneurs get into. And you've built yourself a prison cell, and it sucks, man. It is really, really stressful. And that's because we didn't really understand enough of the processes of what we're doing. And once we unlock the key of predictability by having predictable revenue, by having a sales funnel, by having predictable amount of traffic coming into that so that how many customers are popping out each month, man, it just makes everything go away. All of those problems go away. And that's what any form of digital marketing can do for your business.
It's amazing to hear you speak to almost this level of like this utopian lifestyle, really, where the work that you're doing is the work that you choose to do. It's the work that instills you, that gets you going. But you got a kid on the way. You want to take your family on vacation. That to me is a utopian viewpoint. It's people still want to work. I think everybody wants to work for the most part. It's just people want to pick and choose what they want to work. They want to work where their passion comes from, and it really motivates them to go the extra mile. I'm pretty grateful that I don't have like 5 passions, and so I was able to get pretty far on the podcasting and the media one. But what you're saying about this business cycle of expenses. This thought doesn't come to my mind very often, but I think this is as good a time as any to bring it up. But there is a level of honesty that any freelancer, really any entrepreneur, can have about how expensive their business actually is. And then there's an even greater degree of honesty that they should have. Like I can say that, say for instance, subscribing to the Adobe Creative Suite is a business expense. But I don't say that the electricity is a business expense. I don't say that the internet is a business expense. I don't say that having a roof over my head is a business expense. I don't say having to buy food. All of these other costs that are tangible, but I don't put them on my tax return when I go give it to my tax person. That is all still something that I have to earn money in order to be able to support. So what you're saying about being trapped in this cycle is illuminating. It's really important for people to take a good long look at just how much expenses are really ramping up, that if we don't meet them, they prevent us from being able to do our job.
Just to mention those 2 books again, Clockwork really talks about what's your queen bee role. Like the queen bee is the most important bee in the hive, right? Everything else is to support that queen bee. And that's what your businesses should be doing too, is doing whatever you're good at and outsourcing the rest, right? Like our company makes money when our analysts are doing SEO work for our clients. Anything else, they're not making the company money. So we outsource payroll, we outsource accounting, We even use a profit first accountant to analyze our books. So just the stuff that you're talking about, we're not professionals at that. It sounds easy on paper, but it's not. And the bigger your company gets, the bigger their holes like that. Work with a freaking professional. It doesn't cost it doesn't cost a ridiculous amount of money, and they know what they're doing. Like, you don't have to guess and work this out. Should I put my electricity on my tax return? Let them work that out and stay focused on making money. Do what you do good, and let a professional do what they do good.
Okay, so I brought up predictable revenue. You brought it up, and tying it in so far, it seems that using SEO and using this digital marketing strategy is the key that unlocks that. So I'm going to frame this for my audience, because I just don't want to pull any random entrepreneurial path out of thin air. I want it. Frankly, it's for me too, because I got my own Shopify store. So our audience, many of them are running Shopify stores. Many of us, including myself, are in the beginner level. So there is going to be SEO related to the product, but I'd like to go a little bit further, because I also feel that it's important for the brand to have a lot of internal strength. One of the things that excites me almost as much as the product which I'm selling, which I'm excited about because I really like this thing, it's also the affiliate marketing side too, is having a blog going, writing articles, and promoting other people's product as well, have the affiliate link in there. So again, coming back to my affinity for it, that's where affiliate marketing excites me. So what I want to know is I go to my website after we're done this talk, and how do I make sure that my SEO is up to speed?
So it's not an easy question. I mean, it is difficult. And the short answer is you should have a professional do it for you. That's the simple way. For instance, we have a client who has a Shopify site, and they sell dog products. They're two elderly ladies that love dogs, and they sell dog mittens and collars and you name it, everything related to dog. They got some dog collars like $15,000. Some people have way too much
dog collars.
But when they came to us, they were doing about $10,000 a month in sales. And I haven't seen a report from them for a while, but leading up to Christmas, November, I think it was, they were doing about $80,000. So that's an 800% growth, and that's what you can do with the digital marketing spend. It's really this. So how we work with any client, it's always the same process. The first part is understanding exactly who your client is, and what are the ones that are going to spend the most money. And the lady I spoke to last night, she does house builds and refurbishings, and they range anywhere between $50,000 and $250,000, and she wants more of the $250,000 ones. And same with generally the higher the price tag, the bigger the profit margin as well. We work with a lot of real estate people, a lot of syndication companies. A syndication company, the minimum investment is usually $20,000 or $50,000. But then you'll have accredited investors that invest $500,000, $600,000. And it's like, well, let's focus on those guys. They're, there's less of them, but they're more valuable and easier to work with. So really understanding who your customer is, then you work out, okay, what are they searching for? It's the keyword research that is really, really super important, and that people don't put enough emphasis on. And most web designers absolutely suck. I don't understand, what they think they're doing. The average website costs $15,000 to $20,000, and it's a complete waste of money. A website is like a business card. You can have a beautiful business card. If it's sitting in your desk drawer, it's useless. You need to be handing it out. A really good example is one of our clients, Avery Carl, who is on track to be one of the top 10 realtors in the country. She is a gun. She sold in 2019, she sold $53 million in real estate. 2020, she did $158 million. Like, that is a massive growth. And she did that whilst having a baby. And, she accredits a lot of that growth to the work that we did on her website. Only in the second year of her working with us are we refreshing her website because it looks a bit shit. We didn't build her website to start with. But beautiful websites don't sell things. That's a slogan from one of my favorite marketers, Donald Miller, the story brand guy. And I like to add on that, he says words beautiful websites don't sell things. Words sell things. Those words need to get in front of people or it's all for nothing. His SEO sucks, by the way. He has a great podcast and that's where he gets his traffic coming from. His SEO is terrible. It's like people only are searching for his brand name, which is a very established brand name now, which is great, but he doesn't do any SEO. So if Don, you're listening, give me a call. But you need to get those words in front of people. Any website, no matter how crap it looks, is going to convert at some level if it has traffic to it. A beautiful website with no traffic is never going to convert. So that's where you need to keep your focus. Don't worry about, how beautiful it looks like. Worry about getting traffic there first. Then you can work on your your conversion rate optimization, your messaging, which, so to tell you our whole process of our work, that's the first step, understanding who your customer is, what they're searching for. Then we do a website audit to see what's wrong with your website and what needs to be fixed. Some things can be urgent, some things are not. But we need to work out where they are. And then we build you a strategy. And the strategy is to go from where you are today to where you want to be. The internet is so much bigger than any of our little human brains can comprehend. Some search, like, a keyword like how to invest $50,000, which is a great keyword for our syndicators that are looking for $50,000 investments. That keyword has 20,000 searches every single month. Your brain cannot fathom what 20,000 people look like. Real estate investing has 500,000 searches every single month. There's no way you can comprehend what 500,000 people look like. Our brains can't work on that scale. And so if you want 10 customers a month or 100 customers a month or 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, it's possible. The internet is so big and there's so many people searching for stuff that it's super possible. And that's what we do, is build out a strategy. How do we get you from here to there? And, it's predictable. It works every single time. Another really great book that I read was called 80-20 Sales and Marketing by something Perry. I should look that up. And he has a chapter in there about the power of guarantees. And, after reading, I was like, well, we can guarantee our work, right? Because you follow our strategy. It works every time. And man, we added in guarantees and, one of the best decisions we ever had. Because it takes the pressure off the client, right? It's like, what, you're going to do all this for me and you're going to guarantee that it works? And yeah, we will guarantee that it works. And it gives us more control too, because in the guarantee, it's like, you have to do what we say. You can't go, you're hiring us to be experts. You let us do what we do and then we'll guarantee the work. You want to do it yourself, then get out of here. We don't want to work with you anyway. So it gives you much more power, much more trust, and it's fabulous. And Google is working very hard to understand what the internet is about and give people a good, trusted search result. If you give Google what it's looking for, it's going to reward you. You make it simple for Google to understand what the hell your site is about, what it should rank for, and man, it's going to feed you traffic all day long.
It's funny because if you think about different ways to figure out what would be a, say, again, coming back to dropshipping country, what would be like a winning product? Another route to take too is, what are the winning keywords? What are the terms that people are searching for, especially maybe relevant in a certain point in time, like change of seasons or holidays or something along those lines. And so keywords can actually be a starting point to figuring out what need can I resolve? What problem can I solve with the business that I start?
Yeah. And so, it's really important to make sure you get Google Analytics installed on your site and use Google Tag Manager correctly. Often we'll see even big sites like Lab Coat Agents, which is a massive site. They got 138,000 people in their Facebook community. Like, they're massive. We just did an audit with them, and they've got analytics installed twice. Their tag manager's screwed. They're not tracking anything correctly. And you want to see where people are coming on your website. How are they interacting with it? And where are those conversions coming from? We generate traffic from Google, but we try to report to our customers, not search engine rankings or traffic, because who gives a crap at the end of the day? If we don't make our customers more money, they don't stick around. We want to make damn sure that they know that those clients came from us, because wherever they start with us, we always want to go, okay, what do we need to hit to double the budget? because it's way easier for us to work with someone that's one client that's spending 20 grand a month or 10 clients that's spending 2 grand a month. It's a lot more fun and a lot easier to work with one client. And that's what we want to keep doing. How much do we need? What target do we need for you to double the budget? And that's what we'll really work towards. Here's where these people came in your CRM, and this is where they converted from. And the more you analyze that, the more you understand about your customers. One thing I really like is sales over marketing, right? It's sales, you get instant feedback. You're on a sales call and you can see what happens, and you get the money or you don't.
Yeah.
I know if you don't get the money on the phone, you're less likely to get the money because people they make the decision right there. Why would they make a decision later? Where an e-commerce website is tricky because you don't get to see that person. You don't get to see why they didn't buy. And so you don't get that instant feedback. You're talking to a lot more people, so you can measure statistical relevancy, and that's where you need a lot of traffic, because us humans, we might think we're all unique, but when you put us in a group of 1 million, we act very, very much the same. And so when you have lots of people, you can, measure statistical relevancy and go, oh, great, a green button rather than a red button makes my conversion rate go up 1%. And when you've got 1 million people going to your website, 1% makes a massive, massive difference in your bottom line. So, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, but that's the power of a great website anyway.
Well, it's just the fun that I have on the job here is I just get to absorb all of this information. And I certainly would like to go to a convention with 10,000 other people, all of who have the exact same tattoo that I have. I feel like that would be an interesting insight. And it's funny. There's a term for it. I'm sure I'll come up with it later on when I'm struggling to fall asleep. But it's this idea of how individualism can actually be accurately represented at scale, because you have one person with their own wants and needs and likes and dislikes and fears. And then, that person runs into the next 10 people and there's enough variance there that there's some things in common. Like everybody's got to breathe, everybody's got to go to the bathroom, but other than that, it's not that much. But then you scale out to the whole world. And now all of a sudden, all of that traffic is finely tuned. So each person coming through is actually, well, there's a term for it, which is the avatar. It's trying to figure out who's the avatar and how many instances of this avatar are out there in the world to make my business scalable.
Yeah, understanding your customer avatar is so important. And I mean, again, that's why I really like sales, because I get to speak to the people and talking about your ideal job, right? That's my ideal job. I have other people running the company and they do a better job than me anyway. I'm a terrible manager. I hate it. I like talking to people. I like getting on one-on-one calls and closing deals. It's a lot of fun. And, I've set the company up so that I can do that. And that's my joy. And understanding exactly who your customer is. And, I can tell pretty readily whether we're going to like working with them. And, we're at the size that we get to pick too. It's like, you're not going to be a good fit, dude. Like, I don't want to work with you. I want to work with someone that has big goals and wants to grow their business. I want someone, when I say, hey, I want you to spend 50 grand a month, and their eyes light up. They go, hell yeah. Then I'm like, oh, what the hell? Who's going to spend 50 grand a month on marketing? It's like someone with, big dreams is going to spend 50 grand a month on marketing. And why not? If you could, because if you're spending 50 grand a month, you imagine what sort of return you're going to be getting on that. Like, yes, please.
So what's the milestone that a business needs to cross before they can reach out to Ardor and be a potential client with you?
Yeah, so I mean, you want to have some money in your pocket because
there's a milestone for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, is not cheap. If it was easy to do, then everyone would be doing it. So the first thing that we do is what we call a business growth blueprint. And that's where we define your customer avatar. We follow Story Brand by Donald Miller. Love his book, read it 3 times, and we follow his process to build your Story Brand script, which that alone is really valuable. We do your keyword research, website, build a strategy, and man, these strategies are super comprehensive. They show everything that you need to do to get to wherever your goals are. And so a strategy like that costs $3,000, which sounds like a fair chunk of change, but man, it's the most valuable part. Like if you screw that up, everything else is going to suck. If you're ranking for the wrong keywords, or you've got your custom avatar wrong, then you're not going to make money. It's so, so valuable. And man, I wish I had done it when I started business. It would have saved me 5 years. So 5 years.
Like I said, I'm in the game now. I'm not exactly profitable at the moment, to put it charitably, but $3,000 is actually not that prohibitive. That's money that I can earn at my job. I can put the money away, and I can actually bring that. It's not. I don't know. I guess I was expecting 20,000 or 30,000.
That's for us to do a strategy. Then
Sure.
To implement the strategy is a different investment. The strategy is yours to keep and do with as you please. You're welcome to fix it yourself. We certainly hope that you absolutely love it and you want to implement it with us. The minimum that we work with is $2,000 a month. We're about to increase that just because we can, and and it's just way more enjoyable for us to work with bigger clients. When we used to work with small clients, they need results straight away. In fact, I'll give you a great example. So that e-commerce customer that I mentioned before that went from 10K to 80K,
the dog collar?
They sell other people's stuff, and they were selling so much of this dog carrier that the person that manufactures the dog carrier asked them, who does your marketing? Because you sell more of our carriers than we do. And they contacted us, and they're only a small company. And they said, hey, you do an awesome job of their marketing. Can you handle ours? And their budget was really small. And we're like, okay, sure. But with a small budget, it's going to take time. And she needed results right now. And she was with us 3 months or something. And I was like, wow, you've gone the keyword dog carrier has a pet. She was starting to rank for pet carrier and dog carrier. One has 20,000 searches a month. One's got 30,000 searches a month. She got to page 2 of Google, right at the top of page 2. And she's like, I'm going to quit. I'm like, are you crazy? You quit now and you get zero return on what you've invested. If you keep going, those keywords are just about to hit there and you're going to open the floodgates. And she's like, oh, maybe we'll work with you again later. I'm like, no, you won't, because I'm not going to take you back. Get out of here. It's just crazy. You need the legs to get it going. The reason that we do a strategy is so that we can show this is going to be your growth arc, and that's what we guarantee. And it depends on where you start. There's no, if you've got a big established website, it's much easier. We can get results quicker. If you're brand new, if you don't have a website, it's going to take longer. If you just bought your domain today, Google does not trust you, because anyone can write any crap they want on the internet. Google's not going to trust someone that's brand new. But if you're already getting zero traffic, it's going to take a bit of work. Avery Carl, the woman that I mentioned, I'm looking at her strategy refresh. When she started with us, she was getting around 40 to 50 visitors a month. Not very impressive. When we redid her second strategy for her, she was getting 7,000 visitors a month. So that's what we achieved in a year, less than a year, about 10 months for her. Now on page 2 and 3 of Google, she's ranking for keywords worth around 43,000 searches a month. So all of those are moving towards the front page. So that's the beauty of SEO, where it's, it's not linear. It grows exponentially. So she went from near 0 to 7,000 in year 1. Next year, I'd imagine it'll go from 7 to 30 or 40 or 50,000. It's a much bigger growth arc, and it's just going to keep growing from that. And the beauty, the more we understand her business, I had lunch with her account manager the other day. They never speak, because we already understand what she does, and we just work on a site and get it done, and she runs her business. She's also now opening a mortgage brokerage, because she sells so much real estate, so I might as well sell you a loan as well. And it's awesome. So she gets to go and do her business and not worry about her marketing. She knows that we got it covered, and we're getting the mortgage business as well. So it's awesome.
There's something there that I wanted to touch on, just to make sure I'm understanding it. So you had said that for that client, they managed to get to, I think it was around page 3 of the ranking, or was it
You talking about the dog carrier?
I think so, yeah.
They got to page 2. They were right near the top of page 2. No one goes to the second page of Google, right? Even the top 10. So if you're at the bottom, there's 10 search results on the front page of Google, for those that don't know. If you're around number 10 or number 9, you're getting around 3 to 4% of the traffic. About 3 to 4% of people will click on number 9 and 10. If you're number 2, you get 15% of the traffic, which is 5 times as much. If you're number 1, you get about 33% of the traffic. So the difference between number 2 and number 1 is over 100% more traffic. In fact, I had a lunch with the webmaster of Pornhub one time, and they get a lot of traffic. And he told me, without just looking at their analytics, he could tell if they were number 1 in Google for the keyword porn. It would just be that much traffic difference if they were number 1 or number 2. It's like that. That's how stark it is. But yeah, no one is going to page 2 of Google. And even if they do, it's divided by those 10 there. So you're not going to get any traffic. She was so close to making money, but she didn't have the legs to make it.
I don't normally do tests like this, but I just popped it into Google and Pornhub is still number 1. Okay, I totally didn't have that tab open earlier. And also, by the way, earlier on, you were trying to remember the name of that author. It was Perry Marshall, The 80-20 Sales. Yeah.
Fabulous book. And there's a previous book called 80-20, which is about 20% of the people in the world have got 80% of the money. And then even 20% of those people have 80% of that money. And it keeps going infinitely, which it does, until even you get to the billionaires. The top 20% of billionaires have 80% of the billionaire money. And the same with your clients, right? 20% of them will bring you 80% of your revenue. Understanding who those people are, is how you need to focus your sales and your marketing. And that's what that book is all about. Really, really increase both our sales and our marketing and filtering stuff out. In fact, let me show you a really great sales funnel, which is our sales funnel. I think it's fabulous. And in fact, I had a sales call last night. The woman gave me her money and she commented on how good it is. Because we eat our own dog food, right? We do our own marketing. And so we get a lot of traffic. And we don't have time to speak to everyone. I don't want to speak to someone that's going, yeah, I got $200 a month to spend on SEO. Get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. I want someone that's serious about growing their business, that they know, okay, it's going to cost me $3,000 to do a strategy. And then at a minimum, I'm going to have to invest $2,000 a month. So I'm going to ask you for $30,000. Ideally, I'll ask you for $50,000. I want someone that's bloody serious, not someone that's joking around. And so I want our sales funnel to filter out all the rubbish. And so in fact, we'll set up a landing page. So if you go to ArdorSEO, Ardor means to do something with a fiery passion. And if you can't tell from my funny accent, it's spelled ARDOR. So ArdorSEO.com/Debutify. And there's a little video of me talking about what we do, giving you predictable revenue. Put in your name and email, and then we have what's called a tripwire product. So we do a video review for you. So we'll show you exactly what your potential customers are searching for, in what search volume, and show you some simple things that you can change on your website to get your message in front of them and predictably grow your business. And that's for the whopping massive price of $7. A $7 price tag is just such a great tripwire product. For one, it filters out all the crap, because anyone that isn't serious about their business isn't going to invest $7, and so then I'm not speaking to them. So it's great. But it's not that much that you need to think about. But when someone whips out their credit card and gives you money, it doesn't matter if it's $1 or 10 cents, whatever, the trust value goes up dramatically. You need to deliver on that. If you took someone's $7 and you give them crap, then you've destroyed that trust. But once someone gives you any amount of money, your authority level goes through the roof and your trust level goes up. Oh, I gave you money and you returned on that, on what you said you do. Awesome. And so now they're in our sales funnel and they're a really qualified lead. And so once they understand what we do, we book in a call, and then those convert like crazy. And that's a really great way to filter out the crap, filter out the noise, and make sure that our pipeline's only filled with really, really great potential clients. So awesome sales funnel that really converts very well. ArdorSEO.com/Debutify.
I checked that out while you were describing it. I was tempted to pull up a screen share, but I don't like to leave the audio people out in the cold. But y'all can check out the link as I will have after when I'm not micromanaging. Here's a couple of small things I'm wondering about because I've only got you for another 8 minutes. One of them is there are other search engines, and I'm coming off the heels of another conversation that I had earlier this week with Dr. Robin Gaster, and like where that conversation got to on that subject is that Google is really like it. Google controls the prices. Google controls all of it. Is there any significance or relevance to these other search engines, or is it the same thing where it's just the scale there isn't coming into your radar?
They're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to organize the internet and give you the best search result. That's what Google's trying to do. So I imagine that if you rank well in Google, you're going to rank well in Bing, but who gives a crap? Like, why go after what's Bing got? Like 8%, 10% of the market? Why would you go and focus on 10% when you can 90%'s over there? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, like I do end up doing a number of searches on Google, but I also use DuckDuckGo as my primary search engine. And the thing for me is it's more about, sometimes I do just want to support the little guy just to feel like I'm supporting the little guy. Some of it is just a concern, like as a trust thing. Sometimes I don't find Google 100% trustworthy, but that's because I'm more of an outlier.
A couple of our hippie team members were using DuckDuckGo, and I was like, guys, we work with Google. Use Google. Even if you like the little guy, we need to know what Google search results look like.
They're on the job. Yeah, I understand.
You're on the job. And, it is terrible that the world's owned by Walmart and Amazon and giant companies like that. I'm all about supporting the little guy, and that's awesome that we can give him a voice and give him a power. But Google's the search engine that everyone uses, so that's what you should focus on. If you're doing ads, Google ads work, or Google wouldn't make any money. Alphabet, the parent company of Google, something like 95% of their revenue comes from Google ads. It's almost all of it. So they work. Bing ads are cheaper. So if you've got a campaign that's working with Google ads, it'll work with Bing ads. You won't get as much traffic because there's not as many clicks there, but it's cheaper. So you can do it, but ads are not as a good return as SEO. So if you want to set up an ad campaign, go for it, but focus your SEO on Google.
Another one that I'm wondering about is the degree of pushback that maybe you would encounter based on the brand. Like, you provide a strategy and maybe the messaging has such a variation from maybe the message that they want to convey. Have you ever run into a situation like that where you have to have a little bit more of a compromise between their vision and the vision that they should have?
It comes a line, right? At one point, it's their money and you have to give them what they want, kind of, but it's also they're paying you to give you expertise. So you somewhat have to be stern and go, hey, dude, you listen to me. This is what we do professionally. Sometimes people get all caught up on their logo. And it's like, dude, who gives a crap about your logo, dude? No one. I use the example of Starbucks, right? Starbucks is this stupid name from some B-grade sci-fi movie. They got a naked mermaid on their logo. It's a stupid logo. And they're a multi-gazillion-dollar brand that's all around the world. Your name does not matter as much as you think it does. Neither does your logo. No one's buying you because you're your name or your logo. When you're a smaller company, it's good to be really clear what you do. Like our business is ArdorSEO. What do you think we do? It says it on the tin. It's like Jim's Plumbing. It's, if you can tell people straight away what you do, I actually even think under Starbucks, it's Starbucks Coffee House or Starbucks Coffee and something. It's like, it tells you what they do. Now they don't need to mention the coffee bit because they're such a brand. Amazon, it used to be always Amazon, the everything store, right? It used to push that so much. Now it's just Amazon. Everyone knows what they are. So don't get caught up on that stuff. What is super important, and I really, Donald Miller's Story Brand, fabulous book, read it 3 times. His other book, Marketing Made Simple, is really good as well. He talks about clarity. People run away from confusion. They buy clarity. And, I'm the same whenever I have a sales call and I don't get money, it's because I didn't explain the process well enough. I wholeheartedly believe that I failed. Because if you understood what we do, you'd give me your money. It's as simple as that. And getting people to understand you is difficult. I got 3 young kids, and understanding, trying to work out what they understand and what you say is challenging. And it's the same when you're speaking with an adult. Different words mean different things to different people, and getting your message across is hard. And getting that on your website really clearly. How do you make that person's life better? And make sure that it's not about you, because just like in sales, no one gives a crap about you. So no one cares about your brand. They care about how are you going to make their life better. And that's what good sales and marketing is.
Also, while you're describing that, I can confirm that I typed in Starbucks, 2 things. 1, the mermaid is naked. And 2, it does say Starbucks Coffee Company. So it is, I don't know. I go to Starbucks at least like twice a week because there's one way too close to my apartment for my own good. And often, I don't really think about the fact that there is the coffee company to it. It's just the brand has become so synonymous with my behavior. So with Kris, I have so little time left. So I'm going to hit you with a completely random question about real estate because I just wanted to defer to your expertise for that for a second. So with real estate, and I know that this is a dumb question, but I'm asking it, but I'm doing it anyways because I just want to. It tends to me, it comes across as one of those markets where it's a winner's game. In order to be able to get into real estate, I have to have enough money to even make a down payment on a home or a condo or something like that. Is there any method or strategy to get into real estate on at a lower budget? Like what's like the low threshold to take a crack at the real estate market?
So to correct you there, I'm an expert at real estate marketing, not so much real estate in itself.
Fair enough, but it has crossed your radar, I'm hoping.
For sure. I mean, I speak to people about it all the time. And property pricing in the US, holy cow, you can get some cheap price. Like I see people buying houses for under 100K all the time. It's like, man, in Australia, you wouldn't get a shack for $500,000. It's crazy.
Well, I'm in Canada. Even this water is like.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everything that you got to go out and find those little sweet spots, and doing up a house and thinking you can sell it for more. Well, you need to know what you're doing. It's not an easy game. If it was easy to do, then everyone would do it. So this episode's probably going to go out too late, but if you go to the realestateMastersSummit.com, you'll see that we're putting on a summit, and it's massive. We've got 42 of the biggest speakers in real estate. Not only real estate, we have Donald Miller from StoryBrand speaking. We've got world-class people telling you how they built their business, how Avery Carr sold $158 million. We've got several of the top 10 realtors in the US speaking. We got syndication companies, multifamily people, how to do real estate marketing, everything that you need to do. In fact, I just saw a promotion go out this morning about Avery Carr. She was a bartender 6 years ago or something, and she just commented on, holy cow, I retired as a bartender 6 years ago. And then she listed out the amount of properties she's invested in this month. It's like, holy cow, how big is your portfolio now? And that's how fast you can grow in 6 years if you just keep reinvesting. And that's the beauty of business, beauty of SEO. You keep reinvesting in your website, it keeps growing your business. You keep reinvesting that money back into your business, it keeps on growing,
With that, it really has been fantastic to have you for the time that I had. Thank you to you and your people for reaching out to us to book this on. It's always a pleasure to get the intake as well as the outtake. There's anything you want to do to close us out? The floor is yours once more. Wisdom, any more books you want to mention? Just go through your socials, your website. You know the drill.
Yeah, I'm not the most social person, so don't look for me on social media. I like to live in my little cave and hide away from my children when I can.
Okay.
But yeah, check out the Real Estate Master Summit. That'll show you just how much we're into real estate marketing. Niching down. There's power in the niche.
Sure.
Check out our awesome sales funnel at ArdorSEO.com/Debutify.
Well, this episode will go out after the fact. So how can we find the Real Estate Summit afterwards?
Well, if you can still go to the website and you'll see some pretty cool stuff there. I will have something up there that's pretty special.
Okay, terrific. Well, to our audience, plenty of takeaways, a lot of good reading material, a lot of important things to think about with SEO, and really like what any one of us are capable of. You know, it takes motivation, it takes ardor, it takes passion to do it. And so today is just one more opportunity that I've gotten to be able to impart some of that to all of you, just as much as it's been imparted on me. So Kris Reid, thank you for your time. It's been a blast.
Yeah.
To our audience, take care, and we will check in soon.
To handle, because you're doing volume, so you need to hire people. So it's like you have so much to learn.
Hey, this is Joseph from Ecomonics. Just wanted to thank you for being here and for giving this content your time and attention. I hope you learned something. I can say with certainty, I have learned something with every episode that I have done, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's a couple things you can do to help us out. If you want to check out the audio content, we are available on all major podcast platform distributors. And while you're there, give us a 5-star review. It helps a lot. And while you're here on YouTube, there's a lot of things you can do to help out as well. It's not going to take very long. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for this episode, and hit the notification bell so when we have new content for you, it's going to be at your doorstep ASAP. Lastly, this podcast is created by Debutify, the best Shopify template available. It is 100% free for you to start, and it can change your life. It can make you so much more free than you are right now. So if this episode wasn't enough to convince you, I think a few more might do the trick. So have at it.